Good morning, buongiorno from Sydney, Australia. A new day about to start. Today, with the nudge of spirit inviting to come out more often, the reflection can be on where do we recognize and when do we see separation for everything as within, so without. And there are patterns that we can observe around in society or in the world or even the galaxy, and then we can observe those within, and vice versa. There are patterns or cycle or behaviors or mechanism that we can observe within and recognize those outside. As it is said, learn and study biology, and once you understand cellular biology, you will understand the universe, and vice versa. There are so many things that are mind-blowing and so fascinating in the way they are interconnected and they relate with one another. And that comes back in circle to that oneness. If you have never heard about this concept, well, simply think about the way we have the blood vessels for the body, and they would go from a main center branching out, and how that circulation and lymphatic system is organized so brilliantly with so much divine intelligence through the human body. Then zoom out and observe and ponder for a moment on how the water is connected on the globe, and how from the ocean it would branch out through the rivers and more narrowest path, and then come back into a bigger source, and so many other examples. So as everything is as within so without, and as without so within, separation is one of the things that can be observed as well. And we may have opportunity to observe that in the people around us, in the greater community, and us within ourselves. So I was asking myself the question, and the beautiful thing is that we go through stages and we go through progression. So the concept of separation is just one example. We can make thousands other. If you're looking at that, the response that we may give today may be very different than the one that we may give in a month as we continue to evolve and expand, or even more. So what do you see? Do you see any separation? And in what form? I would like to learn and know from you. So if you want, add that in the comment below. Oftentimes, especially for those of you on a spiritual path, it could be really any expansion. As long as you are trying to expand in a positive way, in a constructive way, any area of your life, that is being spiritual. That is very much the purpose of everything, is to learn, is to expand, is to progress, is to get better, is to experience. It was never to be stuck or to be so fearful, never to try or experience anything. And we grow up, it's like imagine walking through a net, like so many spider nets. And you would have, it takes some courage, it takes like wandering and that curiosity like a child to go past it, to wander, to shed the spider webs away and be able to try, to experience, to, as you grow, as you expand, first of all, recognize and have the awareness of those layers of blockages or anxiety or fear or concern. Those that belong to you, those that come from you, those that come from your programming, those that come from others. Maybe it's the society, maybe it's from a parent, maybe it's from a teacher. Maybe it's from TV or social media that with repetition has embedded on you and planted that seed, and now you have taken on and you have this anxiety and you think it's yours, but in reality you don't want to carry with it. So shed it and you can leave it aside. It always starts with the awareness. Once you start to recognize, once we start to recognize, then we have a better opportunity to decide, distinguish what we want to take, what we want to leave away, and that's also discernment. So in observation and pondering upon the question of observing separation, especially, again, those of you who are on the path of the awakening, you may notice the separation in expressing in the sense of there are some people or some environment or some content that no longer resonate with you. And as you continue to progress, you may come to a new level and that may change, and again, there may be another different layer of non-relatability or separation. And so how do we manage that? I'll make a practical example. First of all, let me integrate also that there is so much at the moment, like it's so beautiful for some people to witness the expansion of consciousness and how people are helping one another, and how I was making this reflection on another video the other day. Like, look just at the expression of choreography, of art, of magic, of show, of creation, of anything. Like even 10 years, 20 years plus back, those things were not in a divine mind, or even just look the evolution of technology, of even AI. We have expanded so much and it's going so fast that for some people is exciting and they're using that for a better purpose, and for others that is scary and that is frightening and it's used in a destructive way. So that is also an expression of separation. And which path do you want to be on? And if you're taken on by mistake or unawareness the wrong one, well, you have time to reverse your direction and just go back and merge to the one that you do prefer, to the one that brings you more light and joy to yourself and others, if you wish and if you will. There is a lot of talks. This is not new, it's been on for many, many decades, many would say, of separation of earth, Gaia, old earth, new earth, and so much. But again, it goes in many layers. It could be as simple as you no longer relate to the people you were having a conversation with. Some people continue to expand gifts of the soul. We see telepathy tapes, we see gifts of children, indigo childs, and so much more. People that come, but people that have not only an NDE to remember a little bit more of what's beyond the physical eyes, or what we think by society that is all that has to do with life, that ends with the physical body. There's much more behind it. We also have so many experiences of children now that come through in life more awakened, and they have pre-birth memory. Shout out to the beautiful, amazing child of my best friend. So special. There are so many. It's fascinating. So coming back to that separation, it can be in so many ways. It is said, there are references to sacred text to this, as in Dolores Cannon often used to mention and remember about this. Like, one will stay and one will be taken and will go. The beauty is that whatever is the future, it's so everything happens in the same moment and in the now. And whichever is going to happen in our next moment that we get the privilege to experience, it's a dance and a co-creation between so many factors. Yes, there is divine timing for something, for some other. There is no divine timing. The divine timing is you. The divine timing is also the moments where you decide to plant the seed of your thoughts, whether you decide to create and desire and recognize and be from your heart. Or divine timing is also, especially for the things or the projects that we are designed to be between people, whether the two or the group decide to say yes to create together. Sometimes one is ready, the other person or the other group says no. And hence the path has to readjust. And what was supposed to be in divine timing may not happen or may be delayed. If it's important, the universe, source, God will try again, rest assured. It will be patient. The truth has patience, very much. And so once one is so detached from any expectation, what is in the best and highest good will be done. As concepts keep coming away now, this is an analogy I'm sharing with you in so what are some of the way where I observe separation, and then I'll leave space for the reflection if anything comes from you guys. I'm having messages like some people, those who have taken some steps to evolve themselves, to expand their curiosity. It could be to expand, maybe they've been for decades on a path of spirituality, maybe they're curious. They are quite, many would say, attached to the matrix, or they have their beliefs, simply, respectfully. They have what they think that is right, and they have the full right of having that, although they are curious. Although they look at people with spiritual gifts and may not need to frame that as that with words, but they are curious, and they are still courageous to ask the questions. So they haven't shut the door fully. They are still willing to question themselves. Maybe not all at once, maybe once in a day, and then next year, and then in progression, but they are willing to expand it to know more. And there are those who not as much. So I receive messages from, it's fascinating to see majority of people may look from a distance and not engage. Some others that have been on a path and are familiar with the messages, the channeling, the spirituality, understand fully. Not completely to what is behind someone else's path, for example, but they would understand, for example, yes, of course, it is possible to channel. Yes, of course, everyone has these soul gifts. Yes, of course, everyone could improve and practice and start somewhere. And yes, of course, with the universe, it's a collaboration, and it is a two-way co-creation. And it is everyone's opportunity, and it is everyone's right to learn to do so. Now, don't confuse that with talent and what is on your soul path. Take, for example, Michael Jordan. Everyone can take lots of classes to study to play basketball. Not everybody will have the same results. And so again, it's a dance, it's a co-creation of factors. The talent that meets resilience, that meets the mindset and the resources and the opportunity and those that come at you when you deserve them. It is the same. It can be the same for psychic gifts or opening or spirituality. In that separation, I observe people that just simply block, unfriend, close the door. The beauty, I think, and that's also where the truth always wins, and the truth is patient and can wait over time with no judgment and so humbly. Because once one is and has always consistently be a good person, that is also a truth that has a sound, and that sound will resound through continents, through countries, and through years. And you should know by now that if I tear, it's not me being emotional. That's also a dance. It's me dancing with the universe and spirit dancing for me, supporting through that physical rendering of the tears that may come or my chakra that starts tingling. And it's very beautiful. So to those of you, for those who shut the door, and for those who remain curious but do not ask, for those who are skeptic, for those who support, for those who recognize, and are willing to share a word of support. I see all of that, and then I zoom out and I say, wow. I had someone the other day saying, are you okay? Some video may have triggered something, and there is no intention for that. I do not post videos to trigger other people. That is not up to me. I share something if I believe there is something true, or if there is a reason to share, or maybe it's constructive, and it's a message that I take responsibility and take ownership with my integrity to share out. So this person just messaged me to say, are you okay? I think it's so beautiful. Really. For people, like, we have so much free will. And isn't that amazing? For us to have so much free will, that we can decide which of those two paths to take, one or the other. And oftentimes we dance between the two, and that's also part of free will, and we can. I came up with this idea a time ago that we are like AI, and that's a great analogy with Source God as well. As Source God is trying to learn from each of us, it's like we are any user phase of AI or ChatGPT, where every user phase extension of AI or ChatGPT, just to make an example, would have its learning experience that learns from the human that is directly interacting and would communicate with the whole system and create that bigger and bigger and bigger library of information. And so the creator keeps expanding just for what it can experience for each and all of us. The point is remaining curious and remaining open. And so what I invite everybody, whether you pray to someone or you have a conversation with anyone, whether that is yourself, a physical real person, or in spirit, remember that you can ask, and that you have the right to say if something is too tough on your path or if something is not clear, say that and ask, how can this be more clear? It is not clear enough for me. So oftentimes I have this conversation with the spirit guides, and they would say, well, we've tried to tell you, or we are telling you. This is also that something consistently I've seen through other people, clients of quantum healing hypnosis, a similar model, my direct clients of quantum healing, when the soul, the higher self, and the spirit guides come through to channel through that person, to channel messages for that person, they would say, we always say that she doesn't listen, or he doesn't listen, he knows. And there's like we try so many times that there is like giving up. And I've learned so much from all those interactions, and I've started to continue to conversate better in my own experience, to say, do you understand that I do not understand? Do you understand that the density of the human body is so much that at times the messages that are passed is not clear? And I oftentimes hear, it is up to free will. Oftentimes I hear we have to respect free will. And so I was just having this conversation with God this morning. It's like, let's open space. That sometimes it's not free will. Sometimes it's like, we are not sure. So help us. Let me create better context. There are moments in the past where, yes, I can recognize. If I have to recognize, can I recognize the moment where I had this nudge or this desire or the synchronicity, or maybe it was the comment from another person asking me if I was doing something that I was meant to do. And my heart would tell, yes, I know, like that's what relate with me, but still not catching enough, still not grasping it enough to go ahead and act on it. And that could be for concern, that could be because sometimes we feel we are not worthy enough, or someone is doing that better, so why am I needed? Or it could be financial constraints, it could be anything. It could be anything that you think of, that any story that you're telling yourself, that you're repeating within yourself. With this example, so Spirit could say, or God could say, I've told you, I gave you the desire, I gave you the intuition, I gave you the synchronicity, I even had people giving you nudges and reminders that had something to do with you, and you didn't act upon it. So I'm going to respect my free will. Thank you for respecting my free will. However, I did not act upon, not as, you can do this, and now you choose. Instead, this is not clear enough. The density, the noise around of the human body, the society, all happen. There have been several times where I dared to say, hey, what if? Can you help me better? Do you understand that this is not clear enough? Do you understand there is so much density that I hear a whisper? But you also send me challenges. You also send me voices that are misleading to train and enhance my discernment. So if it's not clear enough, I may pause longer. There are several times. And what I heard back was that, please keep doing so. Please, this is actually helpful. It's important for us to understand what you get, what you receive, and what is not clear. And our relation, even my relationship with my spirit guides and Source, has grown and got better and better through time. And this is invaluable. This is so beautiful to experience and to live. It's like any partnership, any relationship that you would nurture with honesty, with respect, with no expectation, but also with constantly showing up from love. It can strengthen and it becomes something so wonderful. I think the free will that we have, it's so beautiful. if you ever at a stage where you see something or you receive a message, never think that that's one way only. And you can play with it, you can express it in your conversations with yourself, with Source, with the universe, with Gaia, with your spirit guides. Surely you can ask back, and surely you can try to have a conversation and say what would be more helpful for you. What I have now made, for example, if I hear a nudge, and if I receive a message from spirit guides, now I would either nod, or from either saying loud or from my own self, that would generate a thought to say, thank you, I've heard you. And so we know that we understood one another. And other times where it's not as clear, I would say it's not as clear. Let's remember we go in frequency, and so there are moments where our frequency are higher and hence it's easier to receive, like a radio antenna. And there are moments where if we are going on a loop of preoccupations, or we are in an area where it's very dense, or there is traffic, or there is noise, or there's pollution, or there's even people with anxiety or anger nearby, or distress, that can affect us and lower our frequency. The food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, everything around us. If there's mold in the environment where we are versus if we are out in the park with fresh air or the water, everything can affect our frequency. So this is also something I often remind the spirit guides and say, give me a hand. It's a co-creation. It's a beautiful co-creation. If you're open to it for today, I'm going to leave you with this point of reflection. Is there any separation? Anything that was relating with you and now no longer? Could be a person, could be an environment, could be a content, could be a behavior, could be a habit that you had. Let me know. And if you have any question for future content, let me know. It's always helpful. Sometimes I take inspiration and invitation from what people message me in private or tell me face to face. Sometimes a spirit wants me to come up with a specific message. But nonetheless, it's always beautiful to share and to learn from you. I send you so much love, a wonderful day, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.